To you, hey. Wow.
Thank you. That was enlightening. Did the guy that whistled earlier leave? Yeah. Shit, that was fun. You gotta cater to him. Yeah, I know. Seriously, we have to coordinate for next month, right? So, good job on the pizza and the booze, and I think there's maybe a couple soft drinks left, so feel free to snag those as well. We're going to go to the Ginger Man here in about 20 minutes, but first, the crowd pleasing. Hopefully there's some actual questions. And just not making fun of me constantly. Okay, number one. Awesome JS tattoo next? It's totally worth it. Yes, it is. So whoever is going to get the Awesome JS tattoo, it's totally worth it. That's right. Absolutely. Jesus. I mean, we need like a document camera so we can blow these up. You guys can't see this. This is, who drew this? Is it? This is amazing. Here, we can just pass it around. I don't know how to do this. It's like grade school.
So everyone follows what's AwesomeJS on Twitter. What's the
@AwesomeJS.
So
take a photo, tweet. So yes, what he said. Somebody do that. That would be fantastic. Smart. Whammies.
It's all
whammies, really. It says, "Hey Joe, I'm a function, and this is crazy." But here's my reference, so everyone look at Andrew Pond rolling his eyes.
I know, I got it done like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, cool. All right. Finally, are libraries like AngularJS turning web apps into nicely styled spreadsheets?
Or the yes and move on.
What Alex said. In what ways does everyone do templates that run on the server for page load and update on the client? Now that's a good question. Thank you, whoever asked that. Alex, would you like to answer that one? Or anyone for that matter? I'll repeat it. In what ways does everyone do templates that run on the server for page load and update on the client?
So we do mustache on the server, and then we use requires text plugin to just string it up and make it available in JS.
Do you compile the functions, compile the templates into functions?
Anybody else?
I know.
Yes.
I'm working on a setup where dynamic parts of a page that can get updated, when the outer page is loaded, it's not all working yet, but that the JSON data for the dynamic parts can be prepared when the wrapper is prepared, so that when it gets to the client the first time, it can render with the client-side template from the JSON in the container. It gets dumped in a script tag in the container, and then of course it gets overwritten, and then subsequent updates can just happen via Ajax. So it's basically, I always do it on the client, but I can make sure that all the data is there for the client when the wrapper JSON gets there.
It's good for caching too, I found. Anytime you do server-side rendering, and you have anything like Akamai or anything that in front of your pages, always send up the payload with it, because if you make the request and your initial payload, your initial rendering is different than the Ajax request you make, then none of your popovers work and none of your filters.
We had a lot of trouble with this at Waterfall until we found a project that compiled PHP to JavaScript, and so we just send that straight on.
I wish that was true.
We do it by taking out the any DOM-related things in Backbone, and then also delaying the delegate events function. And once you do those two things, you don't have to hit anything on the DOM. You can just instantiate your model. You might have to fake jQuery to be like an empty array, a function that returns an empty array, something like that. But as long as you're not doing anything DOM and init and delegate events doesn't run, then you implement a 2HTML function that just returns as a string. Then your render becomes inject into my element the two HTML. But after you do that, like, you can use just about anything as long as you decouple the rendering HTML from the actual injection. Then you can just run your actual app on the server side in Node at least, or Rhino.
And if you want to see this live, go to any of Bizarre Voices clients' websites. Soon. Ish, maybe.
There's a few that run it now.
I thought it was like another one, a late night actually. All right. What's with the... This has got to be Rupert.
Well, what?
What's with the file extension? What does node do?
No duh.
This is why we have this guy every month. Seriously. Every month. Where do you come up with this shit? Amazing. What's next for Enyo now that it's had its big 2.0 release? If you want to, I don't know what that says. Yeah, so now that it's had its big 2.0 release, what's next for Enyo?
Well, gee, I wonder if I can answer that.
Who asked that?
That was a directive at the bottom, not a real.
Sorry.
No, yeah, we had a big 2.0 release in July, right about the time of the last meeting, which is why I couldn't make it, but we're in the middle of getting... I know. We're in the middle of getting our big Aries environment up and going for demoing this fall, which is all in the browser editing and code and application layout project.
So for those of you who don't know what Enyo is
Enyo is HP's, or possibly some other company in the near future.
HPP.
It's something about gr.am out there, but it's our framework that we have for desktop and mobile applications. I talked about it back in March, and probably will talk about it again. I'm actually talking about it breaking development in September up in Dallas, which is a very expensive conference.
It is a very expensive conference, which is why you should get your employer to pay for it.
Exactly.
Yo, I got coops if you want them.
You got coops?
I know some coops.
You know some peeps?
Yeah.
Chickens?
So the comedian over there actually has connections in this industry as well, so chat with him.
When are you guys open sourcing WebOS?
Well, actually, it is happening right now. We have open sourced lots of pieces of it, and the first beta of OpenWebOS is coming later this month.
That's awesome. Someone tweet that right now. Breaking. Okay, looking for recommendations. We're going to end on questions. This is fantastic. Looking for recommendations for interactive charting built on D3. Rickshaw, others? Anyone do any UI stuff in here? Anyone? Bueller? I don't know what Rickshaw is. I know what D3 is. It's like that rap group for Detroit. Seriously, does anybody use D3?
There's not a ton of libraries built on common.
You just use D3.
Yeah.
So just use D3. There you go. Does anybody know what the point of guardrail damage and end signs is? That's the first part. And if so, what a good JavaScript implementation would look like. P.S. No jQuery. So let's answer the first part of the question. Does anybody know what the point of guardrail damage and end signs is?
If you plan on crashing,
We know that it's going to be
It's
worse.
just like
feed it to
maybe on
decide
board
exactly
side,
when and
right?
where you're
Like-
Stimulus.
No, that's like bonus points.
It's stimulus. You gotta pay people to put the signs up.
There you go. Bingo. Bingo. I like that. Way to take it to politics, bro. And if so, what a good JavaScript implementation would look like?
Well, that's when you include JSLint in your code and have it run on the script tags later in the page.
Bingo. And with that, the questions, jokes, and heckles are complete. Thank you again for showing up. I'd like to thank our sponsors again, Luna Data Solutions, The Daily Dot, and Computer Associates who showed up right after we started. So thanks, guys. Any special announcement?
And just so everyone knows, this whole session has been recorded and is going to be available on Austin
techvideos.com.
Awesome, thank you.